Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the QRP. Today, there is more Halo. There is Forza Horizon 5 winning IGN's Game of the Year. There's Stalker 2 with NFTs. This is Merry Christmas. Catch you on the other side. Hi everyone, thanks for coming. This is number 36 of the Quick Resume podcast. My name is Deck, if you haven't been here before. Over there with the, I think, was that Geese? Geese on your shirt?
It is, it's geese.
Geese?
Yeah.
It's
It
Tim?
says goosebumps.
I've seen that, yeah. It's Tim.
No,
Tim with the geese.
Tim with the geese.
We run the most popular Xbox podcast on the internet. So, it's not really surprising that you found us. Tim, how are you, buddy? How's it going? Christmas. This will be this is the last, this is probably like the second to, it's like the penultimate 2021 QRP podcast. QRP, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Oh yeah, 2021. Yeah, I was about to say it's definitely the only one we'll get in before Christmas, because obviously we do these on Sunday, and Christmas is Saturday this year, isn't it? Saturday? Yeah, it is. But yeah, we'll be able to get in one more before the new year, before the big 2022.
Damn right.
But yeah, man, I'm good. I'm feeling festive. I've finally got my time off work. I'm done for like 2.5 weeks now. So that's a pretty nice feeling, and it definitely helps with the whole getting into the spirit of the holidays a little bit more. I was just
not being at work.
I was just so done with work. It's like towards the end of this year, to the point where I even had like my manager, and I was like, "Listen, mate, I just need a break. Like, just try not to contact me, because I'm like a one person department, so I get contacted quite a lot, even on holiday. So that's fun.
Fun.
But yeah, man, I'm good, and just the usual, really. Still enjoying Halo. And obviously dipping our toes into Imogos. Ibigos.
Smolgos.
Sus, yeah.
Aguskus.
So yeah, as far as like my sort of like gaming week is being concerned, it's basically just been Halo and Among Us. So nothing too spicy, but
I have spicy.
It's a really nice change of pace, I have to admit, to just be able to just hop on and like just mess around and play like a sort of like party game, rather than click on heads and play Halo all the time.
It's a nice palate cleanser. That's how I'd describe it. Nice palate cleanser.
Yeah, for sure. And for the most part, it's quite a chilled out game as well. Like Halo's one of those games you need to sit up, you need to be close to your TV, and you need to, concentrate and stuff like that. And Among Us is quite nice to just sort of vibe out and just have a good time, unless you get imposter eight times in a night, like I did last night, where my brain was actually more fried than playing Halo ranked for like 6 hours.
It's tough. It's hard out there for all those sussy imposters.
It's rough. It's rough, man. And there's always a couple in the friend group that are they're just giga brains. They're just so good at figuring out, and they're just questioning every single thing. And
you have get off me.
I just want to have fun. I killed him. So what?
Just let me snap some necks. Like, for fuck's sake.
There are some times where it's like it's so annoying. Like, you
try
make, like,
harding
the
my
smallest error. Yeah, and this guy's got a fucking checklist, and something just doesn't add up, and then it's just an angry mob. He's like, vote him out, just because of one small thing. It's infuriating, but it's also good fun. So that's that's what I've been doing this week, and I imagine your week has been fairly similar. But how has your week been?
Yeah, man, it's been. I mean, I had my first. I think I said on the show last week, I've started a new job, doing the same thing but for a different company, but through like an agency. So I guess the easiest way to describe it would be that I'm doing it privately, but being lent out to the NHS service. So I'm doing that. So it's just I know the job at the back of my hand, but it's like different places have different organizations, even from different NHS place to NHS place. So it's just like really boring stuff that I have to like really try and soak in, because you need to know it to do the job like quickly. Otherwise, you're going to be working past 5 every day, and I'm not doing that again. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get my head around that, and a lot of it's soaking in, thankfully. So that's been okay. So I've been a bit exhausted from that. But other than that, sort of in gaming wise, yeah, it's just been bouncing between Halo and Among Us since that came out Tuesday. And I think my partner is just sick and tired of me shouting Among Us just at random intervals now. Just I'm gonna play some Among Us. She's like, what does that mean?
It's the best.
Is it not Among Us? Like, what are you on about?
Yeah.
It's just the meme that doesn't die. But I did finish It Takes Two this week, so that was good. Me and my partner finished that together, which was fun. Yeah, we've been playing that for what feels like 6 years. It was a game that dragged on. I've gone over this before. If you want to hear me talk about It Takes Two, but yeah, I enjoyed it overall. As predicted, the story kind of ends on a bit of a nothing note, but you know, it isn't a story game, I suppose. It's there for the gameplay and the puzzles and the co-op elements. So, yeah, really good. I'd probably give it an A overall. Yeah, I liked it. It was good.
Is it one of those games where everything just wraps up and it's just like, and they all lived happily ever after?
I mean, sort of. It's just it's left a bit ambiguous. Like, not in a good way. Like, not a good ambiguity. It's just like this just feels like you didn't really care where it was going at the end. So
there's definitely going to be an It Takes Three. And then it's going to be like about the relationship with the parents and like a child involved as well. Absolutely know it. It Takes Three. I'm coining it right now. If it happens, they have to pay me royalties.
They did, because Take-Two filed a lawsuit against Hazelight, the devs, for It Takes Two, which is petty. Like, I mean, come on.
It's just it's a bit shit. Well, you just can't use those English words. We're not allowed to use those words. We coined them.
Yeah, but it's like, obviously there's like the song, like it's based off the song. It Takes Two, so it's like, I know that came before Take-Two, but it's just like they're obviously picking their fights because they feel like It Takes Two is going to be, because of its critical success, that it's going to take viewership away from them in the future. It just feels like heavy corporations throwing their weight around, because I think it was I can't remember who it was published by. It Takes Two, because the company was Hazelight, but I want to say it's EA. I might be wrong. So yeah, I mean, they've got a publisher to back them, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, it will really suck if they can't continue to use the name. Like, they have to change it. Like, you know, that's just so confusing.
Yeah.
And I also I picked up a bit of Breath of the Wild this week, which I haven't done in ages.
Nice.
Just because, like, my partner doesn't like games. Well, I mean, she doesn't dislike games, but she just has a very restricted palette. Like, she's never been like a lot. You know, when she grew up, she played like a lot of Sims. So that was kind of her thing. It was like, you know, Sims sort of stuff. Anyway, 2020 Christmas roll around. We were in COVID. We're not in the place we're in at the moment because we moved for work. And I think this is genius. I'm going to buy her a Switch. Bought her a Switch with Animal Crossing. Bang. She opens it early, mind you, thinking it's like rabbit food or something. She opens like a game, and she's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Oh, fucking, why did you open it?"
At least she didn't feed it to the rabbits.
Yeah. I just come around the corner and my rabbit is just Tom Nook, just hopping around the lounge. And so she plays Animal Crossing, loves it. Wow. Stellar. And I think, you know, that's fine, because it kind of is a bit Sims-like, isn't it? You know, it's quite silly, Animal Crossing. Something like that makes sense. Then we get a Breath of the Wild. Things change. The can opens, you know, worms come out. Suddenly, she's into an open world action adventure Zelda game. You know, she's played previous Zeldas, never finished them. But, you know, and I'm thinking, like, I don't think you're going to like this, because it's like, I think open worlds can be quite intimidating, even to us, but, you know, especially like a new, like, you know, somebody who's not really into it. Anyway, she plays it, and she, like, for like, I kid you not, like 6 months straight, like every day. I say this like this is weird, because this is what we do. Her and her sister speak like over Facebook, and they both play Breath of the Wild through together. They get every shrine. There's like 125. Then they buy the DLC. they do that and they do everything there as well. And she's like 100% in it, and it's just like, and she's like, favorite game I've ever played. So my point being, when we had some time together in the week, I was like, oh, do you want to watch? We're watching X-Files at the moment, which is just kind of fun. And she's like, I kind of want to watch you play Breath of the Wild. So I'm like, I mean,
all right,
sure. So I was just booting up, and I'm like, I got to the, you got quite far in it, didn't you? Like, I'm not spoiling anything. Yeah,
I got a decent way in. Yeah.
Well, there's the giant camel. Like, I'm at that bit. Which
well,
is
I mean, you can do these things in any order, but yeah.
So it happens to be the third one that I'm tackling, and there's the boss in there is really hard, which I don't think it would be, but I fucking hate the controls for this game on the Switch. It really rubs me the wrong way. Anyway, it zaps you, so you have to drop all your metal shit. Turns out I don't have enough shit to win the fight, so I have to go back out into the open world. And I've just been like not like speed running, but I've been like hopping from mission to mission, doing main objectives. Maybe like, oh, there's something over there, like on the way, not really going out my way. This forces me to go back into the world. So I'm like, I need to go out, get loads of weapons that aren't metal, stock up on arrows, find some better armor. And I think this is the most I'm enjoying the game so far. Like, I'm just pissing about. I'm just like, I'm just trying to stock up on weapons. And I think this is where, like, because I didn't have a problem with like the durability criticism that a lot of people had. But now that I'm like doing this thing and I'm trying to hoard weapons to like take to a fight, now I'm like, it's getting annoying. Because like I don't have I have to start using stuff that I want to save. So yeah, that's my story. I sort of touched on Breath of the Wild, and I've been having a good time with it. I still don't love it, but I do like it. I think it is very good, and I definitely appreciate why a lot of people love it. Obviously, I appreciate why Beth loves it as well. So yeah.
No, it is a really good game, and I think that in itself, how you're enjoying it, just describes what makes it so good for everyone as well. Is that whole, it literally does just throw you into the world, and you do kind of figure these things out, and then you have to prepare. Like there's not many games that do that. Just make you sort of go out and wing it yourself, prepare, gather resources, and try and judge what you think you need for the fight, and then come back, and then you get mixed up doing other things, and then there's like, you actually forget almost what you went out to do as well. You're like, oh yeah, I actually came out to do. I think it does a really good job at that. Like, the game is just, everything is almost just a distraction, and I think it's good. I never really felt like my time was wasted in Breath of the Wild. Like, even if I spent ages climbing a mountain just to be like, is there going to be an invisible up here? Can I glide off there? Got to the top of the mountain, and there was like loads of fucking like really rare ore up there and stuff like that. And I was like, I didn't even know this was in the map, like in the game. Like, I just feel like it never wastes your time. Which is really good to say for an open world that big. So
yeah, I know what you mean. I think I have had moments where I've been like running from point to point, and I think maybe not experimenting as much as I should have been, where I have found myself getting a bit bored. Like, I'm just running like a lot, like, especially when you don't have many shrines, you can't like fast travel, like before you establish that kind of network. I think if you get unlucky and you maybe go away, which you happen to like worm through encounters, I mean, it's hard to blame the game for that, but ultimately that's the disadvantage of not having like scripted encounters and things like that, But that is kind of what a lot of people say about Breath of the Wild, isn't it? That it's like it's very much was kind of revolutionary on the open world front in that it's like exploration driven rather than like map marker driven, which again, totally can appreciate. I think it's really great idea. I've gushed about like Outer Wilds on this show before, which is like very, very similar thing, not in an open world sense. But a very, very similar thing. Exploration driven games where you follow your eyes and you follow your nose rather than what the game's telling you to go for. So yeah, I've been doing that as well. Just booted it up, and a lot of it, while I'm on the conversation, because a lot of the technical aspects of Breath of the Wild really remind me of the Halo Infinite campaign as well, just in the sense that I don't think Zelda looks good. I don't think Breath of the Wild is a good looking game. I think the art direction is immaculate. Yeah, I think the art direction is immaculate and brings it all together in a really good way. So where overall the experience of being in the world it's really good. But when I'm like, I go back and
I
forth.
guess
On it.
I guess actually texture-wise, yeah, if you were to really focus on it, sure, the Switch doesn't have the power to really blow you away. But I think in terms of color palette, design, and like lighting, I think the game is pretty damn good. Like,
that's what I mean. The
yeah,
direction pulls it all together. You know, it's like
yeah,
low frame rate, pop in, like choppy textures, and it's just the art direction. It's like we'll make it work. We'll make this work, and you know, you can tell it's been polished down to like a fine, art. You know, making sure it looks good.
yeah. I mean that to get a game that big and that versatile, I don't know, that good, that big, and have it look that good as well. On a Switch is ridiculous. Like, I actually do think that's kind of insane. But yeah,
I think they've been very clever with how they've managed to preserve performance and everything on that console. So, but again, it's only something a Nintendo studio could do because no other publisher's going to know how to do that, and to have that much time and money to do that. But yeah, no, it's an interesting case study, and I think there are a lot of parallels between that and Halo in a number of ways with a couple of things that you've said, which we have kind of already talked about. So I'm sure we don't want to cycle back around to that.
yeah.
But I guess with having speaking about our weeks, I did just want to have a bit of a conversation about Among Us now that it's on consoles, because it's been a long time coming, and obviously it's on Games Pass. I don't actually know if it came to PlayStation.
I think it might have done. I just think it was it. I think it came to all platforms. I just think it came to Games Pass. I think.
Yeah, maybe.
That
makes sense. But I mean, obviously we've been playing that a lot since Tuesday, and like I said, it's been a real nice palate cleanser, because as much as you love one game, there's only so much you can take of it, and sometimes you have those nights where it's just not clicking for everyone. Like, you'll all hop on to play some BTB, and you're all just getting slaughtered, loss after loss after loss. You're like, shall we maybe not do this?
Yeah.
So it's great that it's on Games Pass. I mean, I think we'd have all probably bought it anyway, wouldn't we? But I think it's a good one. It's perfect to be on there for people who haven't tried it but have heard about it. Let's give it a go.
Yeah,
and they've actually got like a nice little progression system in there now, haven't they, on Among Us?
Yeah, which, by the way, is like, unless you actually actively look for it, you can't. It doesn't activate by itself, which I do think is really stupid.
It is stupid.
Because I played for like an entire evening and got quite a lot of XP, quite a lot of levels, whatever. But I never went over. I never went into the customization and went all the way to the right and clicked on some fucking cosmic cube or something and then clicked activate. So I never started my battle pass. So then all my XP was just wasted. In that regard. So I think it's kind of stupid that it's not like auto activated. But
yeah.
Now I have it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it gives you cool little fun customization options and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you weren't the only one either. I think there were a lot of people who hadn't done that.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's very weird.
It is weird. And so there were before the game came to console. Like, something we've been speaking about, because we used to play when it came out. Well, not when it came out, but when it got popular on phones, and I think I grabbed it on the Switch when it came out on the Switch at the time as well. And I've always said, like, when it comes to consoles, I hope there's like proper in-game chat. Just because Project Winter did this really well, and so what, it doesn't even need to be proximity chat, which is probably a whole nother discussion. But at the very least, so that we could like, or so maybe there's no comms when everybody's in game and playing, just like how you mute your mic so you don't speak. Then when obviously someone hits the button, all those channels open up and everyone can speak. But the other side of it, I think, is when you die, you go into your own channel and you can speak with other people who have died.
Exactly. Yeah.
And things like that. Cool. And I just feel like those are missed opportunities.
Yeah, because there's so many times where I died or whatever, and I'd love to just like talk to you about who I was like suspect of, or like, it really surprised me that it was Ridge and he actually called me really well, and we could just chat and just talk about it. And I think that is something, like you said, Project Winter did really well, especially like, I think we'll notice it a lot more if you get like a big lobby of like 10 people and you're like, all right, let's get 2 imposters in, right? Those imposters can't communicate between each other. They just have to like kind of play off each other like in the game. You don't know if you're thinking the same thing. But Project Winter was really smart, where if you had multiple imposters, multiple people trying to kill everyone, you had like a walkie-talkie that had like a separate channel which you just held like right bumper, and you talk to the other person you were working with. You could coordinate attacks and stuff like that.
So
Mate,
cool.
If Among Us had something like that, it'd be so good. And why not just have something like that and a death channel, stuff like that? Because you kind of just die, and if you're the first to die, you do your tasks in the next like 2 minutes, flying around everywhere, and then you're just sitting around doing nothing. And they have made it more interactive in the sense that you get like, you can be like the guardian angel and throw shields on people and stuff like that. That's really cool. I actually think that's a great addition.
It's the first
so
to
they
die,
have...
isn't it? I think it's that.
Oh, is it actually? I didn't know
so.
that. I still thought it was random.
As the person who dies first all the time, let me tell you, I've had it quite a lot. I think it's a chance on first death.
I think that makes sense, because I think I had it once or twice last night, and I think I was first death. Now I'm actually connecting the dots. So I think that actually might be true. But yeah, I think that's really cool. I think it's just because otherwise I kind of just pull out my phone and I'm just fucking just scrolling through my phone, doing nothing in silence, on mute, not talking to anyone. So it's but they definitely have made it more interactive in those sort of ways. And I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it would be nice, to go one step further. It would be nice. I would like to have, not by default, but I'd like an in-game option for proximity chat. And I think for Among Us, you'd have to make it a really small radius. So, like, it's like 2 feet before you can properly hear someone, just because like the maps aren't that big, and it doesn't work that well, because if you're all speaking and then you hear someone suddenly cut out, like in a room over, that's just like annoying. Like that, I think that's really annoying. So I think it would be one of those things where you can like really faintly hear someone if they're like maybe 5 feet away, but if you're like right next to each other, you can like properly talk. I think that would be the only way to properly do it. But I think it's an interesting like social mechanic that I'd like them to like put in. I mean, I'm really surprised it hasn't launched with it, considering the game's... I know there'll be mods for it on PC, and I guess they're relying on the mod community to do it on PC, but we don't have that, so I would have liked that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think proximity chat is a weird one. I don't think the game needs it as much as, like we were talking about, just having separate channels for imposters and people who have died. I think I would, if I was given the choice between the two, I think I'd take the death channel and the imposter channel over proximity chat, because that can be really weird and it has to be done right. Otherwise, it can ruin the game experience. Because, like you said, if it's too far and you're just like, I'm just talking to like one of our mates, and then suddenly he just goes quiet, and I know that he was in electrical with somebody, and I'm like, well, that in itself is just confirmed that person is the imposter. So yeah, it has to be done right. So
yeah, definitely. I think they've generally done a good job with all the settings that you have access to. Like for example, if you put proximity chat on, and you can't adjust it, you could make the imposter, you could buff like how good the imposter is to like balance it out. For example, like kill times could be lower, like vision radius could be more, it could be less on the crewmate. So like there's lots of things you could tweak with to make that its own thing. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think those chat channels are kind of the first thing I'd like to see. And proximity could be like an experimental thing that they could put in.
And yeah, no, they've made some really, really cool additions since we last played. One of which we've already talked about, the Guardian Angel, which I think is cool. And then you got like roles as crewmates, which I think is a really good way to spice up, making it a bit more fun than just being the average crewmate every single time. You can be like a scientist, and you can see you got a little page to see everyone's vitals and stuff like that, which I've had a few times. You can be an engineer that can also use vents like an imposter. So you can like sit in a vent and like when you think someone's sus, they don't know you're there, and you can literally just watch them murder someone in a room or something like that.
Yeah.
All of these additions are like really great ways to just spice up the game. And the imposter being able to shapeshift into other people, mate. We have had some hilarious moments with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious, because it's so hard to use, and it's hilarious when you get caught with your pants down. But then if you pull it off, oh my god, like it's crazy. I remember you had a really good game with it, and I don't want to take anything away from you. No one knew that we actually activated the skill, so like everyone just assumed that we didn't have shapeshifting in the game. So you did get away with it a little bit, but you still played it like quite well and kind of bamboozled us all.
To be fair, then we had another when you weren't on Thursday, I think it was. I had another game like that after we already like obviously had established the shapeshifter was a thing, and my god, I just had everyone running around in circles. It was like because when I get shapeshifter, I don't even care if I win. I just want to fuck with everyone. It's just
just try and go. Just try and go for the big brain play. Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, it just really striking like cosmic horror, like pure Lovecraftian horror into someone, like walking down like a dark hallway, and you come across yourself, and you just stare in silence, and then yourself runs off, and then like, what do you do? Like, because you don't have any information, so do you go to the button and just say, "I saw myself"? Brilliant, thanks, bud. So you have to just kind of sit on that.
Yeah.
You have to just sit on the information that someone is out there trying to frame you. It's just so funny.
Yeah, no, it's great. And they're all really good additions to the game, like 100%.
Yeah.
So we're having a lot of fun with Immorgus for sure.
Yeah, that's Among Us. And I guess
controls are a bit weird actually. While we're on the topic, I forgot to mention the controls are a little bit odd. I feel, they're just there's some things that like I feel like should just be in different places. And me speaking from having a janky Elite controller with a bad right bumper. Oh my god. It's so hard to vent as the imposter. I can never get in vents. I'm like proper spamming my right bumper and someone's like coming in. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Obviously, that's nothing to do with the control scheme. But it's just kind of weird how it changes. Like if you're like the engineer, you vent using right trigger, I think. But then if you're the imposter, you vent using right bumper and stuff like that, and it kind of just gets confused in my brain, and I don't know why they're two different things, but
yeah. I haven't had much of a problem with the controls, to be honest, but I can see what you're saying.
The keypads,
they can fuck off. Yeah, they can fuck off.
The keypads are like there's like a 1 second delay with every single movement, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's horrible. The Simon Says, the sequence thing in Reactor, like, gee, kill me. Like, where it does a pattern and you have to copy it.
Yeah.
I always fuck up. Like, I get to the end of my stick will like twitch to the wrong square, and I'm like, great, guess I'm here for another 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then someone hits the alarm, and I'm like, fuck, god damn it! Like, right as I'm about to finish it.
Yeah, it's kind of the worst. It's extra weird because it's like when it's telling you to do the squares, it's like left square, top square, right square, but then you go left square, and then it resets to like the middle, and I like it's really weird the way they do it. Like with every single time you press it, it resets back to the center. Where I kind of just want to move it from left up to right. It's hard to explain, but it's weird.
Yeah, when you let go of the stick, it like centers, doesn't it? So it's weird. Yeah, there's some wonkiness there, for sure. All right, well, I mean, I guess before we sort of move into sort of the news stories of this week, which there aren't that many, and they aren't really big stories either. They're mostly just updates. I wanted to kind of have a look back at 2021 as kind of a year for gaming, and it doesn't necessarily just have to be Xbox, although I suspect it probably will just be Xbox. But I wanted us to just have a think about the year and like kind of what we've played and what the standouts are really. I mean, obviously I've got the question here in our notes. What our game of the year is. But I mean, what do you think? How has this year been for you? What have you played? What's been standout? And what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I've actually kind of forgot what's happened in the year recently. Um,
Yeah.
being kind of put on the spot recently. I mean, it has been a fairly lackluster year, I guess. At least the first half of the year wasn't exactly the most fantastic for gaming, if I remember correctly. I'm actually just trying to think what kind of big titles came out this year that we played a lot. Because we play a lot of games that just sort of renew their seasons, sort of thing, like Apex and stuff like that. And I'm
Yeah.
just trying to think, because those games always feel so fresh, and I'm like, oh, that came out in 2021. It's just like, no, it didn't. It's just a new season came out in 2021.
Yeah.
I'm actually just trying to think what sort of came out
Well,
that we
I mean,
played loads of.
you can go and have you can go and have a look on like True Achievements or something that'll show you like
Yeah,
where you've recently got gamer score. But I'll start then, shall I? Because
yeah,
I
you
think
do it.
I've played like a handful of indies this year as well, which I've like really enjoyed. And like you could argue I played them because there's been less like bigger titles and everything got delayed. But we had things like Gears Tactics at the beginning. Well, technically that was end of last year, but I didn't finish it until I think this year, which was great. I've spoken about it on the show before. I enjoyed that way more than I thought I would. Hive Busters was a good time. Nobody talks about Hive Busters, but Hive Busters was
That was
really
this year.
good. That was this year, dude. Yeah,
That was 2021.
yeah, it
What?
came out like March or something, or February, or
Jesus.
January. I don't know. Yeah.
God.
Well,
Yeah, I
the
didn't realize.
Series X only came out in November 2020.
Yeah,
So
I guess so.
yeah. Um, what were some of the indies that I played? I played 12 Minutes. I played Death's Door, which was another standout for the year.
Yeah.
You played the medium for a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, that
You
was.
didn't finish
Yeah, I
it, did
mean,
you?
no, it wasn't a standout for me. It was. I guess it was a kind of a cool concept, but really the game was quite boring. Um, it was kind of like a walking simulator, with some puzzles going on and stuff like that. I appreciated its uniqueness, um, but I didn't really feel like it was a massive standout for me.
Mm, okay, all right. I've got some. I'm getting some good ones. I played Hollow Knight this year. I knew I was missing something. That was a standout for me. That was fucking awesome. I loved Hollow Knight.
Oh, okay. So we're just doing like games that we played this year rather than things that have released this year.
Yeah, that we've played. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I guess here's one that we both played: Outriders.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Outriders deserves a pretty honourable mention. I feel like that soaked up quite a lot of time for us for a few weeks maybe. Um, you know, it was jank. It had its issues, had its bugs. Actually, had a game breaking bug that made us stop playing.
Yeah.
So obviously it did. Yeah, it did come with its issues, but I think overall it was a pretty solid game, to be honest, and it definitely scratched that itch that we were looking for in terms of like a looter shooter.
Yeah.
There are a lot of areas I feel like it could have improved on, but yeah, I think that's a pretty honourable mention for a decent game we played this year. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. It just recently had a really big update, actually. Yeah.
For me, I'd probably also say Resident Evil 8 as well. That was a really good single player experience that I had this year, for sure. Like, by no means, I've said this in the past, it didn't absolutely blow me away. I didn't even think it should have probably been there for the Game of the Year mentions, personally. But as a game I played this year, it was still very good, like 100%.
Yeah. Control I played at the beginning of this year as well, which is actually kind of surprising to me. I guess, yeah, it was the beginning of this year. That was obviously I played that late because it got Game of the Year in 2020. Yeah, I think 2020 or 2019. Can't remember. Either way, yeah, that was stunning. Apparently Ori's no way. Okay, last played. I think that was a 20 game. I played. I spoke about because this is when we started speaking about when we started the show. Like obviously I was speaking about Fallout 4, which I played then, which was interesting for me because I had never played a Fallout game, but I had a good time with it.
Oh yeah,
Even if it felt a bit dated, but still a good time. Second Extinction, the game that we played for hours and hours.
Oh god, yeah, that game had a lot of hype for me, but ultimately failed.
It was just early access, wasn't it? It was just definitely early
Yeah.
access. Early access.
Yeah, just really, really rough around the edges, wasn't it? And I don't really know. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. It was much more fast paced than I was expecting. Like everything was just like crazy. I felt like everything was running at like 400 miles an hour in that game, like including us, by the way, where we're supposed to just be humans.
So
like
quick.
We were literally running across countries. It was so quick, and then dinosaurs are just whipping past you like blurs. You're like, what's happening? Like, there was a lot going on. It was very intense. But overall, I think it still has potential.
I think it
personally,
does.
I know. I think for me, speaking personally, I would like them to slow down the gameplay a little bit. I don't know why they made the maps just enormous open landscapes and then just up the speed of everything by like 200%. Like just make the map smaller and everything run at a reasonable pace, right? I don't know what that was, but it was okay. It was okay.
It was fine. Yeah, I think that was definitely in the drought. Like we were in the co-op game drought, and like we were like Second Extinction. It's going to be the second coming. And then it was definitely not.
Yeah. I'd say probably another decent mention of stuff that we played quite a lot this year was Back 4 Blood as well. I think that was good. I think that deserves an honourable mention as well.
Definitely.
I actually think we probably would have played that more if it wasn't for the release of Halo and stuff like that coming up quite soon after it. What else released really close to it? There was something else that came out really close to it.
To Back 4 Blood?
Or was it just the anticipation of Battlefield, which ultimately flopped? I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
I think it came out in October. So yeah. I guess so. I guess it was Battlefield.
But we played it for a solid amount of time, and got pretty end game on it. I'd say, not like crazy end game.
Yeah, we finished it.
Yeah, we did finish it, and we finished it on the hard difficulty as well. Wait, no, we didn't.
No,
we got really close to finishing it on the hard difficulty.
We got like a third of the way through on hard.
Yeah, that was the thing with that game was the difficulties was the weird thing. It was just like it was like having fun and chilling out Left 4 Dead, and then you cranked it up like one difficulty level, and it was just insane. Like it was just absolutely crazy, and it was inconsistent as well. And I think we talked about this on previous podcasts, but it was inconsistent. One level felt fine, the next level felt nigh impossible. Like that level with the shipment containers and stuff like that, and the helicopter that picks them up. What the fuck was that level on that difficulty? And we almost quit. We almost had to just stop playing the game. It was like an unfair difficulty compared to anything else we played. So yeah,
there were a few real big pain points with that game, like on just particular levels or like particular things that were just like, oh, this is really killing the vibe. And difficulty tuning was definitely one of them.
Weird,
but it was good. It felt good overall. And it's a real shame actually because obviously it's Turtle Rock. They just got acquired by Tencent, so the soul is gone. The soul
is gone.
Yeah. I think they would have been a really good fit at Xbox, but whatever.
Yeah, hey
ho. Shout out to Dishonored Death of the Outsider. I played that this year finally. After playing all the Dishoneds, I've been wanting to play that for a while, but not wanting to play it at 30 frames. FPS boost came, hallelujah, and that was like a really nice way to close out the franchise for now. Anyway, I imagine, but that was a really good time. Another one for me and you, Battletoads.
I was literally about to just name drop Battletoads. That was my next one.
Mate.
Yeah, that was a great little
post E3.
What was that like 2 days?
Yeah,
two evenings we just spent couch co-op. Yeah, it was fucking hilarious. Like and again, inconsistent with its difficulties, like very similar to Battletoads. There were some checkpoint issues in that game. Boy, were there some checkpoint issues.
Rough.
But apart from that, the overall experience was pretty good. It was funny. It was snappy. The combat felt good. And yeah, it was just a great time. Yeah. I'd actually say it's probably up there with one of the best couch co-ops I've played. I haven't played many couch co-ops, but it's definitely up there. Yeah. Cuphead still takes the crown for me in that regard, but yeah, no, it's good, very good.
Yeah, it was a good time. Battletoads, Knockout City this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get the love it deserved from us, I don't think. You know, we played it for a bit, a number of hours, probably 10 or so hours, and it was good. I could see it taking my attention for a bit longer. I think it's the unfortunate content treadmill of Apex that kept pulling us back in, and but it's a good game. You know, regardless of the time I put into it, it is a good game, and I hope it continues to have success because it's cool, man. So unique.
I think it's. I did think it was really good, and in all honesty, I think I actually played it longer than I thought I would. Leading up to the release of that game, I always was under the impression of this would be a little bit of fun, but I don't think I'd actually play it that much. I feel like I sunk more hours into it than I thought I would. Looking at it pre-release, so no, I enjoyed it. It was good.
I think it's quite Rocket League-y in the sense that it doesn't. There aren't very many transferable skills. Your average gamer can transfer, like even with us, like for people who play a lot of first-person shooters, none of that transfers to this, really. Other than the odd thing here or there, like reflexes or whatever. So what that means is that the other people who do get into it get really into it because they get this very unique skill set for this game. But some people struggle to stay on it because it takes a little bit longer to gel. Whereas, if you think about it, like us moving from Apex to Halo, for example, we've got a long history playing shooters, but a lot of those skills carry forward with us, and so it makes that transition easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out Monster Train. Neither of us were Monster Train mains, but we both gave it a go this year. We both quite liked it, especially as Slay the Spire mains.
Yeah. Yeah, oh my god, that's so many hours I put into Slay the Spire.
Yeah.
It had potential. I kind of wish I sat down with it a little bit more. And it's probably one of those games I probably will at some point. Just the whole... Again, I probably blame Apex and just other releases just putting me away from games like that. Plus, it's just not really, we are social gamers. We are like multiplayer gamers and stuff like that. So it's quite hard to find the time to sort of sit down and play those without getting spammed with invites and everyone wanting to play a big game with you or something. So yeah.
This is actually pretty cute because as I'm walking through my true achievements thing here, I've like rated a lot of them. I don't know when I did that, but I've got loads of ratings here. Like all the ones I've said so far, I've given them ratings.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, I guess I know it didn't come out this year, but I did play a lot at the beginning of this year, a lot of Hades, because I think I only got my Switch towards the end of last year or something. I can't remember, but I played a lot of Hades this year, for sure. And obviously, Hades is Hades. We all know what Hades is. We all know it's phenomenal. So we're going to go on about
brilliant game. Yeah. I guess you got to name drop Valhalla, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I did play a lot of Valhalla. I know a lot of people think of it as the worst in the new trilogy that they've done since rebooting the Assassin's Creed, but I couldn't get into Origins, which really annoyed me because I loved Egypt. I loved Egypt as a setting, but for whatever reason, it just did not click. Whereas Valhalla did click, and it was too long. It was annoyingly long, But I did complete it because it was like, it was a really nice showcase for the console, and I was straight up, the gameplay was just fun, and the stories were generally pretty good. In fact, the story was good. It's just that the story was too long, so the pacing was just all over the place with it. So I did really enjoy that. I thought it was great, and I think they, despite what we say about them, they always do an awesome job of like making these worlds look really good and appealing. So, I definitely enjoyed that, and I'll always remember that as my like first game on the Series X.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We both bought it for the same reason. That it was a bit of a showcase.
And the quick resume with it as well.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah. The quick resume was really good for that. And I didn't quite think. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't quite go to the extent you did. I don't think I have the same legs as you do as far as completing games, especially games like that. But just completing games in general. But yeah, the way you kept describing it to me, where you were just like, I'm still going, man. I was literally just like, I'm out. I'm out of the race here, boys. I'm not doing this.
So exhausting. Do you know, it's actually, I'm going to have to find it because, to be fair, I must have been playing that into 2021 because obviously it came out on launch day for Series X and S, but it says here the amount of time that I played it for, and I just want to have a look because the next game I wanted to shout out was Mass Effect Trilogy, which again, I never, just like Fallout, I never played any of the Mass Effects, and I loved it. I played through all of them, and it took me, according to this, 77 hours. And I'm thinking, I think Assassin's Creed might have been longer than the whole trilogy, so I'm just going to check.
I think so.
97 hours.
Fucking hell, dude. That's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I swear in game, though, it says like 70, so I am a bit sus of the number. But anyway, yeah, that's, you get the idea.
Yeah. Bit too long. I think you could say that about almost every Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah. Oh, I played Nier Automata this year as well. January. Yeah, January. For some reason, it even gives you a start date and a finish date, which is really quite neat. You can complete it in 2 weeks. Yeah. January the 1st. So I literally started it on New Year's Day. Pretty cute. Finished it on the 14th of January. And that game was fucking amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you haven't played Nier Automata, go play Nier Automata. It's
I will go play Nier
It's
Automata.
Like a really good game that's like transcendent as an art form. Very philosophical, very good like face value story as well. But if you really want to be artsy fartsy with it, there's a lot of shit to think about there. There's so much to chew on. It's so good on Nier Automata. It's so good. Existential.
Wow.
And maybe that's a bit much for you in your video games. Maybe you just want to click on heads, but if you want that, yeah, then there you go. But if you want sexy robots that are with blindfolds and a bit of existentialism in there, then you know what to do.
And I guess that on the JRPG side of things, I've been playing Scarlet Nexus recently, and that's been a pretty great game. One that I am definitely looking to complete. I will. It's rough, man. It's rough out here for the single player experience with Halo. I still got Halo campaign to do. We got Halo multiplayer. We play all the time, and now we got Among Us, which just if there's more than like 4 people on, everyone just gets roped in to play that. So it's going to be hard to find the time.
Especially while Big Team Battle is fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely fucked. It's so annoying. That's fucked.
It is. It is.
Needs to be.
You'll have to prioritize Halo now that you've got some time off. Otherwise, you are going to see a spoiler. You will get spoiled, and then you'll be sad. Yeah. So
yeah. I am that's my plan with my time off, probably starting this afternoon, but definitely tomorrow is to just start going through the campaign and just finishing all that. Even if it's just to get the multiplayer unlocked, am I right?
Yeah. Definitely. No, definitely.
Just kidding.
They look sweet.
They do look pretty cool, to be fair, but I'm all about those Christmas skins coming in.
Yeah.
Give me them Christmas skins.
Makes sense.
And I went and played quite a lot more of Hunt Showdown this year as well. I went back to that. That's always great fun. Actually sunk surprisingly quite a lot of hours into that recently. Best menu music on the planet, fight me. It's so good, dude. And I think that's about it for me in games. And is this year at least. And I think as cheesy as it sounds and as obvious as it sounds, my game of the year is
me.
Halo Infinite. Is you. It's you. So you took the words right out of my mouth. It's you.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's fine.
It's, just glaze over that one. Yeah, it is Halo Infinite. Let's be real. It's the most fun I've like these last couple months since the multiplayer release is the most fun I think I've sunk like over 4 days into the multiplayer already. In game time. It's been out for like a month, Deck. And I've put that much time into it already. Put like 90 plus hours into it.
I dread to think what mine is because I've had more time and I finished the campaign as well. I must be into like 5-6 days for now. Yeah, that's fair. There is at least one other thing here, which is for both of us, but you can tell because I'm getting to the point on the true achievements list where it's just indie game after indie game. So I can see because these all came out, and if you've been listening to the podcast, we have been talking about these before, and I'm sure Tim will roll his eyes when I say them. But there was Omno, there was 12 Minutes, there was The Ascent, and then obviously Death's Door. All of them deserve shout outs. We played The Ascent together, and the initial impressions were a bit mixed, so unfortunately we didn't go back to it. It was really pretty, and there were some good bones there, but there was some like really weird. Yours was a bit buggy as the when I was the host.
As the non-host, the game to an extent didn't function. I think I had a few crashes. Shit just wasn't loading in. Pop-in, T-posing. And there were moments where legitimately some parts of the level just never loaded in for me. It wasn't a case of it popped in, it just like never loaded in. So not fantastic from that point of view. But it had some good bones to it. There was definitely a fun game there for sure. And maybe they'll polish it up with some patches and we'll go back to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, lots of little things that added up, unfortunately, but it was good. What else have we got here? I mean, big shout. I don't think you ever started it, but obviously we did a whole episode on it, which was Psychonauts 2.
No, I never started it.
Yeah, which was really good. I had a really good time with that game. Really, really good. I flew a plane into your house this year as well.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. I'm talking about
Enjoyed
Flight
that.
Simulator, by the way, everyone. I'm just to
He's
clarify.
not. He's not. That's his out. He always uses that.
There is a Boeing coming out of my chimney. Someone help.
Please send help. Actually, one just popped into my head as well. I played quite a lot of. This was on Switch and stuff like that, but I did play a little bit on Xbox too. Was Curse of the Dead Gods, another indie game. Very good. You haven't played that yet. I highly recommend it. It's really, really, really good. I think it's right up your alley. I think you'll appreciate a lot of the mechanics in that game and the way they do like the runs and how you build your runs, and stuff like that. Really, really cool game for anyone who hasn't played it.
Awesome.
And I think it's on Games Pass. Pretty sure it's on Games Pass.
I think it is, yeah, for the moment. I very almost streamed it the other day, just like, because I had like 15 minutes to burn. I was like, might just stream it and just like give the first 15 minutes a go, but I didn't. But I understood.
It is really good, man. I recommend.
I played Wolfenstein 2 this year as well, which was fun. Spoke about it on a previous episode, which was also really good. Nice surprise. Oh, I haven't scored it. What should I score it? Probably a 4 out of 5. Yeah, let's do that. We did try really hard to get back into Destiny 2.
We did. Yeah. And I found some fun moments in there. But I think overall, I think I'm just kind of done with that sort of game. Like, unless it really blows me away, those sort of games do they feel like chores to me, like now. Like, I think when I was younger and I had a little bit more time, like, I appreciated them a little bit more. But I don't know, man. I feel like I log into Destiny and it's just one fat off checklist, just one big old chore list. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit past it now.
I do just think that these games have a genuine issue with onboarding returning players, and the thing is, Destiny even like goes to great lengths to avoid that happening by like literally scrapping contents. But even then, it's like it's nothing to do with the amount that's in there; it's how you're presenting it to me. Because I've even like other games in similar vein, like Monster Hunter World, I've booted up a few times since we have put it down, and I've just like I load into like the gathering and I'm like, what? Like I know that game like the back of my hand. I go to the thing, I get a monster, I kill that monster, and I could do that, but it's everything else that confuses me. And I'm like, why is there like 14 different colored texts like in my like log?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? And like I think it's the same thing. It's like that onboarding of like coming back. I'm like, I don't know what any of this means.
And just to like preface, we were Monster Hunter World vets. We played that game to its last molecule, and then when it just we ran out of content, we kind of dipped away from it, and then coming back was definitely that experience. I think there is an issue with that genre, and just having returning players come back and not feel overwhelmed, it's difficult for sure. And I think that is what we experienced with Destiny, I guess. It's hard to say. Like when Destiny 3 comes out, we probably will just stick the needle right back in and be addicted. It's just a case of coming back so late into the life cycle of a game that's been going for so long. It is tough to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's from their point of view, that's the advantage of releasing a new game with a blank slate, that they get to pull people back in. But then at the same time, it upsets the vets who have put all that time. So it's a lose-lose. But that's Destiny 2. We both, I don't think we bought it actually. We both played Diablo 2 on Resurrected on Games Pass, didn't we? Didn't click with either of us, I don't think, especially you.
Didn't like it.
Because Tim disrespects our gaming history.
No, I don't. I like plenty of classic games. I just didn't like that one. just wasn't doing it for me.
Shout out to the real game of the year, Lemon's Gate.
Lemsip Gate.
Lemsip Gate. Yeah, Lemon's Gate was this year. That was good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was good fun.
It's one of those games that I'm glad I got to play.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It was definitely an interesting one, to say the least. And as much as it didn't blow me away, and I didn't have the best time with it, I still had a good time with it, and I do wish it got a bit more recognition, and it got a little bit more out there, because I just appreciate when devs come up with these really fucking cool ideas and really try and push the boat out, which that game really did. To be fair,
first person shooter chess. It's just the only very unique,
extremely unique. Yeah.
Here's another one. This is probably the final one for like us. Grounded.
Yeah, we went back to that this year. Yeah. That was good fun. The game has changed so much. When I first played Grounded, we all agreed we did enjoy it, but the mechanics were so janky, and it took so long to get anything out of the game, which those games do suffer from. Like Ark does the same thing, and others that we haven't played, but Ark, namely being the one we have, you have to sink so much time into them to get anything from them. And I actually think Grounded hit a pretty sweet spot now, where if you go back to it with all its recent updates, where you don't actually have to. Like, you can actually get something up and running and look pretty decent and healthy within like a couple hours, maybe. And like, mate, like I feel like I can play Ark for like 3 hours and all I have is an inventory of berries. And I've died
berries
like
and
1,000
spear
times.
and a half broken spear.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I'm like, my afternoon's gone, and I'm like, I've
Yeah.
just got berries.
And I'm thirsty and I'm hungry and my foot has gangrene. Like, where do I go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Grounded was fun, man. Grounded was fun.
Yeah, it was a real surprise to me, because we obviously hopped on it just I have a whim, and we were like, oh, hang on, this is fun.
There's a game here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Artful Escape. That was another little indie I played. But I haven't finished it. I do intend to, but it's really pretty and really good. I think, especially if you're like a music lover or maybe like a music creator, I think that game would really do something for you. I couldn't get into Well, I sort of got into Metro Exodus. Like, I liked it. It just didn't get its claws in me. I liked what I played, but I don't know. Something about it wasn't making
You're not
me
a big
fall
fan
in love.
You're not a big fan of, I guess, janky shooting, which that game does have slow, methodical.
No.
Some might say jank shooting.
I mean,
Is
you
that
are
not
right.
what put you off?
You are right in that I don't like that, but no. I think it's how the gun feels on the sticks, and it felt good on the sticks. Like, it's like the aim acceleration felt good. Like, that all felt good. It wasn't that. I don't. It's hard for me to put my finger on exactly what it was. It might have just been something pulled me away, because I liked the missions that I played. I can remember them.
It does get better as well when you start entering the different biomes and the story missions start getting better. I mean, I don't know how far you got, but like, I especially remember quite liking the desert biome, and
right.
there was like a really like lush like rainforest one as well, with like a cult like sort of gang and stuff like that, which was a really cool area of the game
Right.
to play.
No, I'm still quite. I'm at the first bit where the train breaks down, and you're like in the snowy bit still, and I had to like go here and go there and go there, and I don't know, like, especially because you're like,
think about it,
you're so not mobile. You're so not mobile in that game, and I just don't feel like maybe was a bit too expand. Like, I just felt myself like walking through these things, like not really doing much.
It's slow. Yeah, it is slow. It's like a survival game mixed into like a first person narrative.
Yeah, and I think because there's a lot of like mechanical depth there. Like, you're playing it and you're like, oh my god, like it's hard to like even keep track of all of these like things that the game wants you to. So I think I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why, but I would like to pick it up again. But yeah, I liked what I played. Brief shout out to Worms as we come into the last few months. I fucking hate that game.
Love me some Worms.
Yeah, it's
great fun.
It's fine.
Not really much to say much more about Worms.
It's Worms, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. It's good fun.
Shout out to Forza Horizon 5. Shout out to the Forgotten City, and then obviously up to Halo as well.
Bingo.
Yeah, man. You know what? I think ultimately I am gonna have to say that Halo is my game of the year, but I would be really tempted to say Nier Automata just because I completed that at the beginning of this year, like literally in the first 14 days. So it's quite hard for me because that game is phenomenal. But the fact that Halo had this campaign which I felt was really, really solid, really good, but then this multiplayer which just like pulled me in, and our friends in such a way, like I just can't really replace that. So I ultimately would give it to Halo, but I guess Nier was probably the best story I played this year. But man, I played so many good games this year. I know not all of these released this year, but I played a lot of good games this year. There's always a backlog of stuff to play, and I used this year to catch up on that, and I had a great time.
Yeah, for sure. There have been some good games this year. Some released this year, and just some that we picked up with a nice little frame boost or something like that. There's been plenty of good games, but yeah, for me, ultimately, I think Halo just takes the cake. It's just so good, man. It brings me back to where I log on and I feel like I'm like 16 again. Yeah. And that's great. That's what I want. I don't want to be 40.
I was, of course. Because I was watching our reaction video to what was the show? What was that for? The anniversary event.
Yeah.
And I was watching the reaction to that, and at the end, when we were like waiting for it to happen, and we were both like side-eyeing each other, like in the screen, like as it came towards the end, like, is this going to happen? Are they about to drop it, like right now? And they did. We were like giddy by the end of it. But yeah, it's just so much fun. Like you can tell that the excitement was there after what we had played in the flighting, and that. And the excitement for a first-person shooter doesn't come around often for us because we already had a first-person shooter that we were really invested in. So something's got to be really good to pull us away from that. And it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, anyone who listens to this podcast know that Apex basically had our soul and had us by the balls for the most part of the last few years. And yeah, for a game to just come in and just be like, what's Apex? Like that kind of speaks for itself. It's kind of a big deal. Although I have been wanting to go back to Apex to finish the Battle Pass. Hashtag get my money's worth. Hashtag why can't I just fucking go? Why can't I just go back on Battle Passes? Like, why is it just one and done? Whatever.
FOMO. Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't buy it. Otherwise, I'd be kicking myself.
Well, I had leftover coins anyway. I didn't spend any extra money. It's left over from an event. Don't give me that, you fucking piece of shit.
What helps you sleep?
Well, I'm gonna finish it with or without you, so fucking eat me.
All right. Okay. All right,
this
then.
Podcast.
Let's go into the news, man. Let's do
it.
There's not much around here today, but really, there's just some updates from Halo and the team at 343 that I wanted to start on. We obviously had the new updates this week, which those playlists, were Team Slayer, Free For All, Fiesta, and Tactical Slayer, previously known as SWAT. And there were challenge changes as well, which included the easing or removal of some difficult challenges, weekly ultimate challenges now being less intensive, new challenges specific to new playlists added, and a new type of challenge that rewards in-game personal score. That's the gist of it. So, how have we been feeling about these new updates, these new challenges? Hit me with it.
Bit hit and miss, but I think overall positive. I think I'm happy overall with the changes. The challenges, like they said, are easier. Well, not easier, but like less convoluted. They're more simple. They're not easier to an extent where it does take longer. Like quite substantially longer from what I've experienced, at least. Mm-hmm. Because it's stuff like, play 2 matches of stockpile, play 2 CTFs, win an oddball, play 2 oddballs, and it's like, I mean, I'm still rolling the dice whether or not I even get these game modes to begin with. And then some of them I have to win too. I mean, we don't have a problem with winning. I mean,
all right. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's still an issue. And I feel like if they just reduce them to just like play 1 rather than complete 2 for like all of them, because it's like I have to roll oddball twice and complete 2 matches. Like that could take fucking hours, and it's out of my control. If it was just 1, then fine. Like I'd be a little bit more happy with it. But yeah. So and I think the score one is good. I've had that one where it's just like accumulate score. I think that's good. It actually rewards you. You can smash it and get like over halfway in 1 game and then complete it in 2. It rewards you playing better. I think it was like 7,500 overall. So if you had an absolute banger and got like 4K plus in 1 game, and you could technically complete that challenge in just 2 games, sort of thing. So I think that's cool. Not a big fan of how they included so much ranked into the weeklies. I don't know how you feel about that, but there are lots of people. We're not in this bracket because we do like to hop into the ranked playlist every now and again for quite a lot of shooters. But there are lots of people that never, ever dip their toes into a ranked playlist. They are purely casual shooters, and the challenges are literally I'd say about 25% of the challenges are forcing the player base to go inside a ranked playlist, and I don't think that's okay. Rank should always be optional to the player. Always should never be forced in any way.
I've heard. I can't verify the truth of it, but that this is just a very short-term thing while the HCS is going on. That it's like an event thing, it's like, well, lots of pro stuff going on. Here's some challenges, and so I don't know why that would be communicated in game. So I don't know. It still doesn't change your point. It still doesn't. Yeah, it still doesn't change your point.
Yeah, and just make it its own thing. Like the don't make it a fracture, but give it its own track. Like the fracture we had separate to the weeklies or whatever. Don't mix it in with the weeklies to get your overall weekly reward, which a lot of people do go for. Don't mix it in there. Just keep it separate. Like if that's what you're trying to drum up, it's just you should, in my experience, you should just never ever force someone to go into a ranked playlist. Like you just shouldn't do that. So I think that's probably my main gripe with it is all that, and that hasn't affected me personally. I don't mind hopping into the ranked playlist. We've done it plenty of times. I've actually ranked up. But like, I'm just speaking from what I know a lot of people are like from shooters, and I just don't think it's particularly okay. And the addition of the game modes, there's not really much to say on that. Great, thumbs up. I like it. I like being able to just queue Slayer if I have a Slayer challenge, and I like having the option for something new. The SWAT. It's weird. It's jarring. We were quite shit at it for the first game or two, but it's fun. It's different.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I do you know what? Because I like these. I always felt that I'd be queuing quick play regardless anyway. That would always be my choice. But last night when I was playing, it was just me and a mate. And he was just queuing a Slayer, and I didn't realize until like this maybe second or third game that we'd only been playing Slayer. And I was like, I'm really glad we're only playing Slayer right now, because I definitely couldn't be bothered to try and like communicate like oddball plays and shit like that. I like, because I love objective modes, but I just think they shine when your party makes up the majority of the team, whether that's 3 out of 4, obviously 4 out of 4. But so I guess I don't know. I don't think I'm ready to eat my words just yet, but I think it definitely is nice to have the choice regardless. And I know that the team is worried about playlists getting like depopulated, but like older games like Master Chief Collection has all of this, and that doesn't have a problem with population. So I don't know what this fear is about. Like, I'm sure they're going to speak about Halo Infinite numbers this week, and they're going to be through the fucking roof. So I don't, that kind of does not make sense to me, but they know the data better than I do, so maybe it's more about scaring players out of objective modes before they even get a chance to experience them. People might just hop in from COD and be like, okay, this is Slayer, and this is the only thing I'm ever going to play, and I'm never going to migrate into anything else, and that is what stops those objective modes from really sort of to grow. But yeah, like with the ranked thing, I mean, I agree. I don't have anything else to add. I don't think they should really be there as challenges, to be honest. I'm okay with playlist specific ones. I think as long as
I don't mind them throwing in a Fiesta or throwing in a SWAT.
Yeah, as long as I can re-roll out of them. In actual fact, just if you're going to keep the ranked ones, which I don't think they are, but like just throw them into that playlist category one so that I can re-roll them into another like category of playlist. That's not a big deal. No worries. That's just how these systems work. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, I agree, because like I still have to get 4 more ranked wins this week on the Ultimate Challenge, and I was playing last night at 1:00, and I was like, not doing it, not doing it. So
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I haven't myself popped into free for all yet. I know that you played a little bit of free for all. How's that? How did that perform? How are the spawns? Because I was quite worried on the spawns.
No, great. I love free for all. I've always really liked free for all. I remember I haven't played free for all for like years, but back in COD, whenever I had like a moment, I'd be in free for all. But yeah, it plays really well. To be honest, I don't have an issue with the spawns in the game, like full stop. I just don't. I don't feel like, because I think there's been like one instance where I've seen someone spawn like across the map, when I'm like down my sights and my scope or whatever, like my pistol or whatever. But like, it's never been something which has like intruded on my gameplay. I felt I could very easily explain it away with someone having ran from spawn to me, with the maps being so small. So no, my answer is no. It's 6-person FFA, which I think we spoke about last week. It's not 8.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
So it fits really well.
Yeah, because I was kind of worried with 8 players free for all. 1, spawn, like I said, was a concern for me, and 2, I was afraid it was just going to be very just 1 kill, 1 death, 1 kill, 1 death, 1 kill, 1 death, 1 kill, 1 death. Because there's just so many people just shooting each other in the back all the time. So I guess narrowing it down to 6 player lobbies probably helps with that. So
yeah, no, it plays really well. I'm glad it's there. Everyone's got their own color in the scoreboard, and on the bottom, it tells you who's first and who's second, or who's first and where you are by comparison.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all really, really nice.
Cool.
The other thing was changes to events, which is, to be honest, probably the nicest bit of feedback of this whole update. Particularly around, to be honest, this is just about events and event challenges, full stop. But our frame of comparison for this is the Tenrai event, which is obviously the one we just had, with the different armor core. And so just to read off the page. Players gave feedback that it was difficult to progress event challenges due to them getting stuck behind weekly challenges or not having enough to tackle during the event week. So I think we all know what this means. You would have I think you get a stack of like 20 challenges and you get 4 at a time if you have the battle pass, and then you get rid of one and the next one comes in. They're coming in order. So what they mean by that is that you would like start with a challenge and there would be a couple of challenges away, but then there'd also be one right at the bottom of the pile. So to make progress towards the event, you'd have to be doing your normal challenges to get, and if you had some really hard ones that week and not enough challenge rerolls or whatever, it's possible that you, not because you didn't have enough time, but because you got unlucky that you couldn't get to the challenge. Like, that is feasible. So that's what they mean by that. So in response, they said, going forward, and when Fracture Tenrai returns, event challenges will come in more frequently, removing gaps and where a player would previously be stuck waiting. And while events will often still have a finite limit to the number of challenges available in a week, meaning it will take playing across a few weeks to fully complete them, the maximum will increase to provide more buffer and let highly engaged players progress a bit faster. And this pretty much addresses all of my criticisms with the event. So, by the sounds of it, the event challenges are either going to be front loaded, you're going to get them all first, or there's going to be like a separate track so you make progress towards them both. And last time we were locked to 7 tiers in a single event. They're upping that cap now. They don't say how much, but they're upping that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that pretty much answers and solves pretty much all the issues I had with the event as well. Yeah, that's good.
They did say elsewhere, I can't remember where, maybe it was in the community. Is this the community stream? Yeah, I think it's in the community stream, which I've got coming up on the next bit of news, but just to tie it in. They said that, because, in the marketing for it, there was like armors being shown off that then weren't in the event pass. Not that we thought this was a big deal, because we're kind of used to this in these things being adverts that are purchasable. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, the community outrage was there, and they said, fine, understandable. This is just a marketing miscommunication, so we're going to pop that. So they've like swapped out a load of XP grants and challenge rerolls and put stuff that was otherwise going to be in the store in there now. So,
okay, cool.
So good. They're doing a really bang up job of listening to like this feedback and responding and giving us feedback about it. Really good. I can't say I've seen communication this frequent or this transparent in a long, long time.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, they're listening and they're making quick updates definitely in regards to like the battle pass and progression system. 100%.
Yeah,
it's been good.
So in the community stream, they just did like like a Christmas stream, before they sort of close for the holiday sort of thing, and they addressed a number of things, including those things were cross-core customization being reviewed, emblems and coatings, all of that's under review. None of us know how long that's going to take or how it's going to turn out, but it's something they are reviewing. So we'll see how it goes. They're reviewing bundles and store value,
okay,
as well. Then they spoke about the event which I just mentioned, the Tenrai event, with stuff being added. And then in terms of long-term priorities, what they said is they don't like the current XP boost system and want to improve that. They want better UI indicators for challenge difficulties. They want better ranked models, including backfilling, MMR, and UI experiences. I think we spoke about this with like the bar moving but no numbers, like in your bracket.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
They reconfirmed the commitment to looking at the progression system outside of a battle pass, just an account leveling system, which is like, as long as it's retroactively being recorded, I really don't mind. Performance based XP, but that's and they showed a tiny teaser for the winter contingency event, which I believe starts this week. Essentially it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're saying all the right things, right? They're taking on board all the things the community's saying, and they're looking into them. Sure, these things do take time, especially if you want to do them properly. But it's important that they're communicating it. We know it's on their list, and that's great. No one get fucking angry with them and send death threats or anything. It's like they've taken the time to give us a list and say, we're looking at these things for you. Stop threatening our lives.
Please.
Yeah, please. And yeah, I heard that new Christmas event might work as like a almost like an advent calendar sort of thing. Like it's like a different thing like every day or something. And I heard it was going to span over like 10 days. Like I read something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
But like, I still think you'd have to earn it in some way. It's not like you just log in and they're like, have this. Like, but I feel like it. I don't know. I just heard somewhere that it might have been on Reddit or something that it was potentially going to be done like that. But
yeah,
I think that's still all up in the air.
Yeah, no, I think you're. I think I did hear that somewhere now that I think about it with like login bonuses and whatever. But yeah, it'd be nice to nice to get more sort of camos and stuff into the sandbox and into my hands really. That sticker book is building up, so yeah, I'm excited to see what they come out, and I'll be keeping my eye on the store. Always,
every single week, I'm actually quite excited to see what the store holds, which was quite surprising when they said they were looking at store pricing bundles up there as a thing. Like, it's expensive, but like I never had an issue with it because that's kind of the model and how they charge for every other game that we played in this regard.
Yeah.
And it's all optional. Like you log in and like I saw the one this week and I felt like that wasn't worth the money, so I didn't buy it. But if I see one next week, I'm like, that's cool. I'm gonna want to spend 16 quid on it or whatever. Yeah. Like it's not the end of the world. But hey, they're looking into making it cheaper. I ain't gonna argue.
Well, the assault rifle one is still there, isn't it, with the little eagle on the end, and that's quite cool.
Yeah.
That was quite expensive for what it is. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, they need to. It's worth reviewing. The thing is, I don't think it's one of those things that they're just going to straight like they. The reason that this is the way it is because they have data that suggests that this is how they earn money the best. That's all it is. And I don't know if that's it. Presumably that's internal data. I don't know. But they're still going to want to make that much money. So, if they end up changing these bundles, it will just be put somewhere else, unless they get the go-ahead to, like, make less money this year so they can stop the complaining. Yeah. That would be my understanding of it anyway. So, we'll see. But, if they're really, really trying to make the community happy, then maybe they will just report to Phil and say, look, can we bring these... It's going to cut into our margins, but can we bring prices down in the store a bit? So,
yeah. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay. The Gunk came out this week. The Gunk. By Thunderful Games.
Dear Gunk.
Dear Gunk. And it's currently sitting at 71 on Metacritic, having listened to a couple of reviews myself. Sounds like a reasonably good time. Nice little relaxing game with some platforming and puzzling elements, but gets a bit boring maybe depending on what sort of game you're into. Which is a shame. This is not a bad score, but I was hoping for a bit more, especially the fact that it was secured as an exclusive. It made me think that the publishing team was like, oh, we could have a hit on our hands. Maybe they did, and it just didn't turn out that way. But into respect, and it looks really pretty. It looks really pretty. So
yeah.
I was, maybe I will boot it up still and just have a look, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's I think, like I said as well, I don't know if I made this comparison on the podcast, but it definitely seemed like it very much reminded me of its leading up to release and its lackluster release. Not bad release, but lackluster. Very much reminded me of when we did when Recall was a thing.
Yeah.
Remember Recall? Which was like that puzzle platforming sort of game that kind of looked really kind of promising. I'm pretty sure it was made by an Xbox studio.
No,
It was because it was exclusive. I thought it was exclusive.
It was exclusive, but it wasn't an Xbox game. It was a third party. It was it was a publishing deal. Because it was it wasn't because it was the guy who made it was the Metroid guy. What's his name? It's the guy who made the Metroid. It was him.
Great. But yeah, no, and I think it kind of reminded me of that, and then it ended up being a very similar story. I think Recall ended up releasing two very similar scores, being a bit lackluster. People were hoping for a bit more. I don't know. I just made that weird like connection in my head, and it's weird that they both kind of turned out to do the same thing on release as well. But it does look like a little bit of fun, and I might play it.
I mean, to be fair, Recall came out at 63 on Metacritic, which I think is substantially worse than a 71.
Oh, okay. Was it? So... Okay. All right. Well, I didn't know the exact score. I thought it actually was like high 60s, maybe even cracked to 70. Okay, so it was a little bit worse. That's fair enough.
Yeah, but I mean, if that was your, if you played it and you felt it was maybe more of a 7 game, then obviously that's up to you. But
I did play a bit of Recall. Yeah, it was okay.
I never touched it in the end, but I really like the look of it. But when the scores come out, it just kind of bummed me out. And I was like, oh, another one. Another one in the 60s. So I didn't bother.
It's a dark time for Xbox.
It really was. I'm so glad it's behind us. But it's on Games Pass, isn't it? Yeah, it is on Games Pass. Yeah, so the game's on Games Pass. Go give it a go if you want. The reviews are middling to good. But so if you want to give it a go, might be for you. I figure we'll touch on it because it is a big industry thing, but it just means very little to me. That Splinter Cell got announced this week, a new one. Like I think it was a remake. Do you know what? I should probably have checked this. Like either way, the franchise is coming back with like a main entry. Did you see this week?
I did see it, yeah. Again, I'm not sure if it's a remake or an actual new game.
Yeah.
But I'm very surprised we didn't hear anything from our friends because we've got two friends that really love Splinter Cell and they've been asking for it for a very long time. And I don't know why we haven't heard any hype from them. But yeah. So I think I'm looking at it now. And I think it's a remake.
Yeah. So that's about right.
I'm pretty sure it's a remake. Yeah, cool. It is a cool franchise. I have played a handful of them. I played Conviction and I think I played Blacklist. And yeah, they were good games. They were fun little spy games. They made you feel cool. Yeah. Not amazing in my eyes personally, but they were cool.
Do you think Splinter Cell faces a bit of a difficulty where it's because it's been dead for so long, like as a mainline? I know they've done like Blacklist, I think, and they were like side ones. Do you think it faces a difficulty of that the stealth scene has moved quite far? Like it's come quite a long way. Like, would a straight remake of one of those games with the same mechanics, would it fit in nowadays? Were the mechanics deep enough ahead of their time, or will it need to do something new to like survive?
I think it will need to do something new to survive, and I think all remakes do that as well. I mean, you could look at the Demon Souls remake. It's not really the original Demon Souls. It wasn't just. It was enhanced in a lot of ways in quality of life changes as well as graphics and stuff like that to sort of enter it into that modern era. It wasn't a carbon copy, and I don't think this one will be either. But yeah, I think they'll need to do a few things to jazz it up a little bit, because I think there was a similar situation when, like, remember when Thief tried to come back and they released onto like the Xbox One and PS4 consoles, and it kind of flopped, and that was another like stealth game that had a really big following for its original. And then they were like, "Oh, let's bring Thief back. People love stealth games," and everyone was just like, "This game sucks. It's boring. It's."
Yeah, if I remember, it didn't come out like long after Dishonored or something, and Dishonored was just better in every way, and that's one of those things where it's like the game's not going to survive on the same mechanics that it used to, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I feel like this could fall into the same trap, but Splinter Cell has a really big following, so I don't think it's ever going to do bad in terms of sales and in terms of, I don't know about in terms of reviews, to be honest, but yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think it will need to shake it up a little bit, but we'll have to see.
Okay, yeah, as I say, it's just a franchise I know next to nothing about, so, good for all of you out there. I'm glad you finally got it. I know I've got a couple of podcasts that I listen to, and they speak about Splinter Cell quite a lot, about wanting to come back and everything, so happy for all of you out there. I know it's hard out here for people who want franchises to come back, so good for you. Next up, we had some previews for Crossfire X, and they were not good. They weren't good. I mean, the multiplayer is shit. It is shit. I've played it. I played the beta, and that was like maybe 18 months ago. So, maybe that's just beta. But even then, like, design-wise, it just wasn't interesting. Like, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I know it's been around for ages in Korea, and, they were just... Xbox were like, just spruce it up, make it look pretty, and we'll slap it on the Series X as like a long time or a console exclusive. And then they're like, oh, there's no single player portion. Well, this game's probably going to die if we just release multiplayer. So get Remedy, get Sam Lake on the phone. Yo, do you want to do like maybe a campaign for us? Obviously, they're doing the single player campaign. I was surprised by how good it looked, considering how shit the multiplayer was. But now people have played, and they're like, it's just a bit boring.
Oh, what, even the single player?
Yeah.
This is single player previews. I mean, we did say that. We did say it looked cool, but at the end of the day, it's just like an army sort of storyline shooter. Yeah. Exactly. Like it does still carry that pretty boring factor. It's just been done so many times. That sort of thing. So yeah, we were always cautious in that regard when talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, and the worst part of this. So this is like, it's now got a release date slated for February. The worst part of this is that it's not coming to Games Pass.
Oh no!
Dead on arrival. Like actually dead on arrival.
Yeah, like Jen. Like I can't see anyone just being like, Crossfire X? Oh my god, take my money. And it's just... What's Crossfire X? I mean, to be fair, maybe a lot of people were itching for that military shooter experience that it could provide. Probably won't, because of how shit Call of Duty has been this year. And Battlefield, to be fair. So
I mean, maybe.
If this game did slap, like, it's like a perfect time for it to come out, right? With COD being crap this year, Battlefield being crap this year, like people are looking for a military shooter. It kind of sucks that it's not looking too hot, but this is the time for it to come out and slap.
I don't know. The thing is, like, if there was a person who's been like let down by COD, let down by Battlefield, and then is looking for something else. Crossfire's releasing on the only console which has a banging first-person shooter, which is exclusive. I don't know if someone's going to realistically not have picked up Halo by now and then be like, oh yeah, Crossfire, that'll really do it for me. I mean, I know Halo is quite different to Battlefield and COD, like I get that, but
is that sci-fi?
I mean, it is,
isn't it?
Yeah, but it is like Halo is sci-fi military. It is still military, but it also has a very different aesthetic. It's like not browns and not grunted. But in terms like thematically, I would say it's like sci-fi military. So I get that it is distant in terms of like looks and aesthetics, but it's just like Crossfire is going to be on the only console which has a competitive first-person shooter till next year. Like, you know, like there's not going to be another console next year, so Halo's going to pretty much slap like all year round now. So it's just so funny. Like, I can't believe that they chose to release it.
It's a very weird choice to not put it on Games Pass. I just don't. I feel like it might get like 10 sales.
I really imagine the film or like Matt Booty were making a deal and they're like, you know, they're like counting the dollars, like putting it on the table, like, right, so yeah, what we'll do is if we give you 50 instead of 100, we'll put it on Games Pass, and that way, you know, you can make sales, you know, upsell, and you know, people buy the campaign. We don't want it on Games Pass. You don't want it on Games Pass. You know,
why
we've got Halo.
Why are we even having this fucking meeting?
You know, we've got Halo just came out, right? You know, this Halo, like, big thing, Halo.
Yeah.
We don't want it on Games Pass, right?
so he's just like, so it's like it's free to play then. You're like, no.
And I think it's half. I think it's like 30. I don't think it's 60. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think. So it just really confuses me that they decide to. I guess they probably don't have a say when they're releasing it. And Xbox is like, you know, we want this out the door. It's been a while because we saw this way back in like May 2019 or something, or 2020, whatever it was. And then we want it out the door. But it's just crazy to me that they're releasing it so close to the holiday after Halo's just come out, and even COD and Battlefield, even though they haven't been received nearly as well. You know, if this was released like summertime, you probably get away with it. But there's so much Halo mindshare at the moment that and it's only on X.
I don't know, man. I hear that kids this Christmas want a Series X with Crossfire X. They call it the X bundle.
Oh, yeah. And then they throw it in the trash. Excrement, am I right?
Oh, dude.
Crossfire excrement.
Take it easy, bro.
It's just such
People worked hard on this game.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, the multiplayer wasn't good, and you're releasing it at the worst time maybe in history. Like, in history, to release it exclusively on Xbox. Like, there couldn't be a worse time, like, ever. Whatever. Good luck, Crossfire. See you in the discount section. See you on Games Pass in June.
I don't like this guy. I don't want to do a podcast with this guy.
Well, it sucks because I was kind of excited about it, but now that all of this stuff is adding up, it's like, this is done. This is done. This game's dead. And that sucks to me more than anything because it's like, I know people have been working on this and this game is going to die. Somebody in the managerial area has made bad decisions, and like this game has been sent through the wood chipper to die. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's 100%. We joke about Dead on Arrival, but it is. Like,
What multiplayer shooter releases not free to play? Why is someone buying Crossfire? And not like what? It's so weird. I mean, I know Battlefield just did that, but like it's arguably part of the reason Battlefield died, and also it's going to be on EA Play and it's going to be on games. It's just.
It's just, let's be honest, it's better as well. Like, even if it's not the hottest Battlefield, it's still better than Crossfire X multiplayer. Like, I can probably say that comfortably.
Unless they've really tightened everything up and like added some more novel mechanics and novel map, like it just felt like I was playing slightly janky COD with pretty graphics.
I'm gonna say 86 on Metacritic.
Yeah, okay. X out of 100, that's what I give it.
10s across the board.
Yeah.
X is 10.
God, you did it. You've nailed it. I mean, that must be it. That's the only reason. It's just subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
All right, let's get off Crossfire. Let's get off it before I start again. All right, and in our last news story of today, I mean, it's not really a news story. It's just really fucking funny. This article from Game Rant titled "Why Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 Deserves a PlayStation Release." First impressions go.
It doesn't. I could create a title. God of War deserves an Xbox release. Like,
okay.
The
So
fuck,
let's have a
man?
breath. Let me just explain. So I read through it, and I haven't summarized it here. But like the main talking points are essentially like Hellblade is such a sensory game. It involves all of the senses as whispering into your ear holes. The controllers, and it's very moody and atmospheric. Yeah, well, I mean, correct. And then they're like, well, the perfect complement to all of these odorous senses is the DualSense controller with its vibrating adaptive. And it's like, I mean. And then they're like, oh yeah, because PS5 has 3D audio, and it's like 3D audio has been around for like 2 decades now. What are you talking about? Why are you saying that? It's weird. So because Xbox obviously has Windows Sonic and Dolby Digital. It's just so okay. So the argument is Hellblade shouldn't be exclusive because PlayStation 5 has the DualSense controller. It's just not a good argument, is it? Really?
No.
Do we just apply this to all games now? Is this just what we said?
I was about to say, technically any game could just be like, oh, this would be cool on DualSense.
Yeah.
So Sony should have it. It's just like, well,
the
great, they have a good controller.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they should have every exclusive.
It's like, well, mate, do you know what would be nice? If I could quick resume between Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, and God of War. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? But no, I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
So there we go. I'll play them all on Games Pass. So they can't do that. They can't. Garbage tier article. Wrong.
It's actually the trashiest article I think I've ever read.
You're wrong. Oh god. And then there was an article from the same writer. I mean, not to dunk on you.
No, shit on him. But I don't know.
But there was a same article 6 months ago saying PlayStation 5's got the best exclusives. Exclusives are why you should buy a PlayStation 5 right now. And it's like, are exclusives good or not? Make your mind up. I feel like at the very least we're consistent with the messaging we have, and because we're sitting at night very sitting pretty at the moment with the exclusivity. What's coming up on there, and it hasn't been like that for 5 years. So we're finally in a good place where we can say these games are going to come out only on Xbox. It validates my purchase. They're really optimized for the game. Sick. But I wish it wasn't that way, but it is. So sorry. But these articles just just change with the wind. They just sort of
fucking someone out there with a Wind Waker.
Exactly.
Just writing articles.
So it's just, is it good or not? Make your mind up, because you can't just say this. You can't just say this. It doesn't make any sense. Whatever.
He has a platform. They have a platform, Deck. Of course they can. And I kind of agree. All right. I think that's it. I think I might have broke him.
That's the show. Man.
You're not going to do your normal outro?
That's the show. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, let me just try and get...
Next week will be a solo show.
I'll get a bit of energy back for the ending. Yeah, okay. Well, a very happy Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you so much. This was our first year doing this podcast, so this has obviously been very new to us. And we've had a really good time doing it. So anybody who regularly listens out there, or maybe this is the first time you've listened, thanks a lot. We've got 16 subscribers. That's kind of fun. To be honest, I didn't think we'd even get 5. I can't believe more than 10 of you out there listen to it. What? Thank you.
It's pretty crazy. And we do enjoy doing this. I mean, we literally started off just as a fun hobby. Obviously, so we're here to stay. So if you do like what you see, we'll be continuing it into 2022.
Yeah.
And beyond, I'm sure. So, subscribe and share it and let people know. It helps little small podcasts like us gain a little bit of traction. So
yeah, absolutely. So we'll probably catch you in one more podcast before the new year. Probably. I can't make any promises, but that is the goal.